Marion Tinsley is widely regarded as one of the greatest minds in the history of board games, specifically checkers. His extraordinary intellect, unmatched strategic prowess, and numerous accomplishments have made him a living legend in the world of competitive checkers. Tinsley's legacy is one of dominance, resilience, and unparalleled mastery of his craft, earning him recognition as a giant in the world of board gaming. Early life and introduction to checkers. Marion Tinsley was born on January 11, 1927, in the small town of East Chicago, Indiana, United States. Raised in a family that valued education and intellectual pursuits, Tinsley developed an early fascination with games that required deep thought and strategy. It was no surprise when he was first introduced to checkers at the age of 7. His natural aptitude for the game quickly became apparent, and he began playing seriously as a young boy. At the time, checkers was not as widely celebrated as chess, but Tinsley's competitive spirit and intellectual curiosity drove him to learn the game at a higher level. As a teenager, he began competing in local checkers tournaments, consistently outplaying his peers with ease. His ability to analyze the board with exceptional foresight and his keen memory were evident even at an early age. Tinsley's introduction to checkers was the beginning of a lifelong journey that would see him rise to the top of the global game. Tinsley attended high school in Indiana, where his natural talent for checkers was fostered by his mathematics and science teachers. His academic achievements were impressive, and it became clear that he had a mind capable of thinking several moves ahead of his opponents, traits that would serve him well in the world of competitive checkers. He went on to attend the University of Chicago, where he further honed his intellectual abilities. While studying mathematics, Tinsley began to deepen his understanding of the strategy and theory behind checkers, eventually developing a systematic approach to the game that would set him apart from other players. Career peak. Dominance in competitive checkers. Marion Tinsley's professional checkers career officially began in the late 1940s when he first entered the world of high-level competitions. He quickly became known for his calm demeanor, deep concentration, and strategic brilliance. Tinsley's rise to prominence in the competitive checkers scene was swift. He defeated several established players in the U.S. National Checkers Championship, securing his place as one of the country's best players. By the early 1950s, Tinsley was already a dominant force in the checkers world. He became known for his ability to execute seemingly flawless strategies, making him a nearly invincible opponent. His success in U.S. National Checkers Championships was not just limited to victory. Tinsley's style of play was described as clinical in its precision. He was not merely winning games, he was showcasing the depth of his understanding of the game's intricate patterns and moves. Tinsley's grasp of checkers theory and his ability to think multiple moves ahead gave him an almost godlike presence in the game. One of Tinsley's most notable achievements occurred in 1955, when he won the World Checkers Championship for the first time. This victory marked the beginning of a reign that would last for decades. Tinsley's style of play was noted for its speed, intelligence, and his unmatched ability to anticipate his opponent's moves. He won the World Checkers Championship several times throughout his career, solidifying his status as the most accomplished and feared checkers player of his era. In the 1960s, Tinsley began to face new challenges, including tougher competition from up-and-coming players. However, he continued to dominate the scene with a near-unbroken streak of tournament victories. His performances in major checkers tournaments during this period, including the International Checkers Tournament in London, reaffirmed his status as the world's best player. Tinsley's primary rivals during this period included such accomplished players as Dr. Richard Fort and James Mooney, but none of them were able to defeat him in a series of high-profile matches. In 1961, Tinsley secured the title of World Checkers Champion after defeating the reigning champion in a series of games that demonstrated his exceptional understanding of strategy. His continued success in international checkers tournaments throughout the decade further cemented his reputation as an unparalleled competitor. Main achievements: championships, records, and recognition. Marion Tinsley's career is defined by a series of significant achievements that set him apart from every other player in the history of competitive checkers. His accomplishments are not just a reflection of his raw talent, but also of his deep understanding of the game's complexity. Some of Tinsley's most notable achievements include: World Checkers Champion. Tinsley won the World Checkers Championship a total of 6 times in his career. 1955. 1961, 1962, 1975, 1978, and 1991. These victories earned him the title of the world's best checkers player and solidified his legacy as a dominant force in the game. U.S. National Champion. Tinsley was also a multiple-time U.S. National Checkers Champion. His consistency in the national circuit was a testament to his unwavering skill and mental fortitude. Perfect record against top players. Tinsley famously played several high-profile matches against the best checkers players of his era, and he achieved a remarkable undefeated record in many of these contests. His ability to outthink and outplay his competitors made him an almost unassailable figure in the world of competitive checkers. Contribution to checkers theory. Beyond his tournament victories, Tinsley made significant contributions to the theoretical development of checkers. He helped to systematize strategies, develop new techniques, and explore the mathematical underpinnings of the game. His work, including detailed analysis of checkers endgames, became an invaluable resource for aspiring players and coaches. The man who played the most perfect game. Tinsley's legacy is built upon his reputation as the man who played the most perfect game of checkers ever. His accuracy and precision on the board were unmatched, and his ability to analyze complex positions quickly made him the game's most revered player. Induction into the Checkers Hall of Fame. In recognition of his immense contributions to the game of checkers, Tinsley was inducted into the Checkers Hall of Fame, an honor that reflects his status as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. Final years, the end of an era. After decades of dominating competitive checkers, Tinsley's career began to wind down in the early 2000s. Although his skill remained unmatched, the increasing physical toll of years spent in intense concentration and competition began to affect his performance. Tinsley's last significant competitive appearance was in the World Checkers Championship of 2003, where he made an impressive run but ultimately lost to a younger competitor, signaling the end of an era. In the years that followed, Tinsley gradually retired from the competitive checkers scene, but he remained involved in the game as a commentator and mentor to younger players. His deep knowledge of the game continued to be a source of inspiration for aspiring checkers enthusiasts around the world. Tinsley also contributed to the growth and popularity of checkers by writing books and articles that delved into the nuances of strategy, providing invaluable insights for players at all levels. Marion Tinsley passed away on May 14, 1995, leaving behind a legacy that continues to influence the game of checkers to this day. His work and victories paved the way for future generations of players, and his reputation as one of the greatest minds in board games remains untarnished. Tinsley's brilliance on the checkers board has set a benchmark for excellence, and his name will forever be synonymous with the highest standards of play.